Alright guys, well this is the day that I was really afraid of. Trading in small accounts is really difficult. Everyone knows that. I started with $520 in my account last week, a week ago. And today I had $1,100 in the account. I'd been making some good progress. The account was up over 100%. But you know what happened today? I blew up the account. I got a little aggressive. That stock I've been watching for the last few days, I jumped into it and first I was up $300, $400, $500, $600. Then I was up $700, I was up $800, $900, $1,000, $1,100, and I finished the day up $1,300. Oh, I blew up my account. You didn't think I really blew it up, right? I blew it up. I doubled the account in one day. For real. So you guys are probably wondering, how the hell is this guy doing it? This is out of control. Doubling a small account in one day. All right, it all comes down to, you guys know these. This is Roberto. There's Mike. There's Selena. So, Mike, if you want to be a successful trader, what do you need?
Discipline.
Discipline. Roberto.
Strategy you can trust.
Yep, discipline and strategy. So I have a strategy that I trade. It's a momentum-based strategy. And that means when I see a stock starting to move up, I want to jump on that momentum. It's like a wave coming in. I want to jump on it before it crashes. So I got to get in, ride that momentum, capitalize on the greed and the fear in the market without falling victim to it. And I did it today. You can see right here, small account, right there, 1,300 and let's see, there you go, $80. Now I also traded in my big account and made a nice $7,510. Here's the cool thing about trading. You can scale your strategy. You can trade the same strategy with a tiny account, $500, or you can trade that strategy with a big account, $50,000, $75,000, $100,000. Here is the blessing and the curse of the market, and this is what a lot of people won't tell you, and it's certainly something that I didn't know when I got started. Let me put down the camera for you guys. So the curse of the market is that you can literally spend, years struggling to make even just $25 a day. And you know, you're thinking, $25 a day, I'm not being greedy. I'm not trying to be a millionaire or fly on a private jet. I'm just trying to make an extra $25. Well, you will not consistently make that extra $25 a day until you have discipline and a consistent strategy. Once you have those things, now comes the blessing of the market. And the blessing is, what happens when you're making $25 a day? Selena, you can answer. And you want to go up to $50 a day.
Double your share size.
That's right. You double your share size. And then when you start making $100 a day, and you're like, okay, I'm doing well, and you want to go up to $200. What do?
Do it again.
You double your share. That's exactly right. She's on top of it. You double your share size. You keep increasing your share size. Now, the growth curve from trading with 100 shares to 200 to 300, 400 to 800 to 1,000, it's pretty linear. As you increase shares, your profits increase. There is a point where you'll start to level off, usually around 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 shares. You start trying to day trade with 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 shares, you might actually come to the backside where you start giving back some profit. If you guys want to learn a little bit more about my strategy, how I manage risk, where I get in, where I get out, and how I find these strong stocks like LNPX, which right now is up 49% on the day. What I want you guys to do is click that link right below to register to my next seminar. Now, we've been hanging out here in Miami for the last 2 days. We're hosting an Inner Circle event. This is an in-person seminar that we usually host a couple times a year in various places around the United States. And it's where our students who have graduated from the classes come to trade side by side with us. It's kind of an Inner Circle mastermind seminar. Those of you guys who want to start learning right now, who may not be able to wait to the next in-person event, I want you to click that link and register for my next online class, Day Trading 101. It'll teach you how to manage risk, find strong stocks to trade, where to get in and where to get out, and we're going to talk about discipline. All right? So I want you guys to do that, and I hope you really enjoyed this recap. Give me the thumbs up for doubling the account in one day. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you aren't already, and I will see you guys first thing on Monday morning. I will still be here in Miami, day trading on the beach. All right, see you guys on Monday. All right, everyone. So let's get into this recap. I'm going to close Arsh's computer here. That way you guys can see Roberto. Got Roberto there, and then you can see Selena in the corner. Mike's right over there as well. So we're trading in Miami this week, which has been, obviously a little outside the comfort zone. And the last 2 days, I was really mitigating that risk. I told myself, I said, Ross, you're not your home office. You're not in your typical trading environment. Bring down the share size. Be a little conservative. And yesterday I hit my max loss. I hit my max loss in the small account. I had 3 red trades, and I gave back a little over $300 of profit. And that was really disappointing because my small account at that point was up to about around $1,400. But of course, that's part of the deal with trading. Losses happen. In fact, on the second day of the small account challenge, I lost $22. So, I'm comfortable with that. And today I came in not looking at my account balance, although you can see it here. The account balance this morning was $1,104.77. So that was the balance coming into the day. And, I for the most part, was just like, okay, well, my goal today, this is Friday. It's also Friday the 13th, and I was like, don't think about it. But it's Friday. The goal is really just to try to, if I can make $100, it's a great day. Just try to step back up. The biggest risk with having a red day, and I'm sure both of these guys can speak to it. What's the biggest challenge when you have a red day? Well, you throw out. What do you think, Roberto?
Maintaining composure and rebuild the next day.
Yeah. Just not being too hard on yourself. As Ted likes to talk about, compassion for the moment.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I think one of the biggest risks for me is that after a red day, on the second day, I can be emotional, and I can be fearful, and I can hesitate. So then I end up missing opportunities. And if I see stocks rip up, then I feel FOMO because I hesitated, then I missed the opportunity, and then I overcompensate by buying at the exact wrong place, getting in at the very top of the move instead of having bought where my strategy dictates I should have gotten in. And all of that is emotional trading. And so today I just said, you know what? This is the second red day I've had since I started the small account, and I need to just do the same thing I did after my first red day. Just try to bounce back with a green day. Make a little bit of money. If I can make $50 or $100, just kind of, press the reset button, sort of reset both on, the P&L, but also maybe more importantly on the confidence level. And so this morning, as I was going over the gap scanners, there really wasn't a lot that I was crazy about. So I'll put this for historical date and time. My process every morning, as you guys who attend my next live training will know, every morning I run this scanner. Let's see, there we go, 920. And this searches the entire US market for every single stock that's up more than 5%. If a stock is up more than 5%, we would say that it is breaking out of the standard range that 90% of stocks will trade within. And so it's statistically significant. So any of these stocks here I can take a look at. And in the entire US market of thousands of stocks, this is how many are up more than 5% today. Those of you guys watching on Facebook, you can see right here, there's, maybe like 25 stocks. And so finding the needle in the haystack, that one stock that has the potential to make a big move, suddenly starts to become a little bit easier once you create these sets of filters, right? That, I'm only going to look at stocks that are up more than 5%. That's the first filter. The second one is I'm only going to look at a price between X and X, let's say because you have a small account. The third is I'm only going to look at a stock that has news. During the webinar, the next Day Trade 101 online webinar that I'm hosting, I'll talk about the 5 criteria that I use to analyze whether or not a stock has really home run potential. Now, I don't swing for home runs, but I want a stock to have home run potential because if it goes up, let's say 25% in one day, even if I only capture a base hit out of that, a base hit on a 25% move could be 4 or 5%, whereas a base hit on a stock that's only moving 5% might only be 0.5% or 1%. And that's not enough to grow a small account. With a small account, you want to look for the stocks that are moving quickly. So our leading gapper this morning was actually a Chinese ceramics company, gapping up 75%, which is really pretty impressive. This one was not interesting to me. It was gapping up not because it had its own news or catalyst, but because of trade war talks and talks of coming to some type of negotiation or agreement with the Chinese tariffs. So that, to me, I just sort of felt like it wasn't I'd really just prefer a catalyst that's very specific to the stock. That this stock is going up because they had really great earnings or because they did this or did that. So I kind of was like, no, I'm not interested in CCCL. SRPT, that one's $131, too expensive. COHN, that was the third leading gapper. As you can see, not a lot of volume pre-market, only 7,900 shares. BLRX. All right, so BLRX, I pulled up this one, and the first thing I looked at was this stock has a terrible pre-market chart. It moved from 280 up to 360, and by the time the bell was ringing, it was back down around 310. It then faded and dropped down here to a low of 240. So just no good and not something I would want to trade. You want this? Yeah. There you go. So I left BLRX alone, no trades on it. Going further down the scans, I wasn't seeing a lot that I was interested in. But what I often do is I'll look at the stocks that I traded yesterday. So I'll look at the stocks that I traded the previous day. Yesterday I traded TCCO. All right, so TCCO. And this is you can see this breakout that we had yesterday. This is an interesting stock. It's been really volatile this week, from a low of $2 a week ago to a high of over $10. So 400% in 1 week. Now, if you're trading in a small account, those are the type of stocks you want to be looking at. So this one we traded yesterday on this rip from 640, 660 up to 780. This morning it was consolidating within range, holding up pretty well. And when it broke over $7 right here, this is where I got excited. I was watching it for that break of 7, and I jumped in after it broke that level and rode the momentum here up to a high of 755. I then waited for the first pullback. We didn't see a nice first pullback, and so I didn't end up taking a second trade on it. I only made $60 on the stock. I wasn't super aggressive on my share size, and I didn't hold it for very long. So a quick trade there on TCCO. Yesterday, we also traded LMPX. As you may recall, LMPX has been on the watch list since day 2 of its IPO, when it was down here at around $6 and right around actually $5.90. The stock today hit a high of $38.96, almost $40 a share. I honestly feel a little bit of FOMO on this because I thought that it had a lot of potential. The recent IPO starting to squeeze up with a low float. I was like, man, this one, it looks like the type. It reminds me of LFIN. It reminds me of BOXL, of IMTE. But I was waiting for the company to put out a really good headline. We were seeing some catalysts here, but mostly what we were seeing were transactions by insiders where they were buying shares of the company. So, that's great to see that employees and directors and officers are buying shares of the company. It shows that they are very interested and believe in what the company is doing, but it's not exactly the same as a company putting out great quarterly earnings or putting out news of a new contract or something like that. So in any case, each day, and I'll make this full screen. This is the one that I really crushed it on today. Each day, it has just been continuing to grind higher. And so this was day 1 of the IPO. Then it comes out this day, it squeezes, pulls back, gives a little trade. Next day, a little trade at the open. Next day, the open was kind of choppy, but then it squeezed up in the afternoon up to 16, and I was like, man, $16. I wish I had had the courage to take 5,000 shares in my big account and just hold it for a few days. But the reality is, that's FOMO talking. It doesn't fall within my risk parameters to do something like that, because my risk parameters will always ask, can I afford the risk associated with a trade? It's not about, can I rejoice in the profit? Mike, is it hard to rejoice in the profit you make? No, he says no. Arch, what do you think? Is it hard to celebrate when you have a really big winner? No, it's not hard. Roberto, Selena?
It feels great.
Yeah, it feels great. Yeah, it feels great. Even if the win is the result of breaking the rules, it still feels great. But the reality is, people don't complain when they make money. They complain when they lose money. And, I've just, again and again and again, I've had students who come up to me and they'll say, oh man, I can't believe I missed this huge thing. And it's like, well, would you really have been comfortable holding 10,000 shares of this for the last 3 days? Because what you would have been risking would have been easily $5,000 or $10,000 or $15,000, maybe more, $20,000. So unless you could have afforded the loss of $20,000, this wouldn't have been a smart trade to take. And so of course I didn't take the swing trade on it, but I did hold it, or I did trade it here through these breakouts. And so this morning, I hesitated on it a little bit. We had a pre-market high up here at $23. The bell rings, and let's switch over here to the 1 minute chart. So on the 1 minute chart, the bell rings, and it actually pulls back for a second, and I had an order ready to go at 22. And so when I say I have an order, ready to go, what that means is that I type here LMPX. In this window, I type $22. I type my order for 100 shares, and now I'm ready to go. All I have to do is press the buy button. The second I press that buy button, my order is going live to the market. And I'll show you, I don't want to do this on my small account, but I'll do it on my big account. So ZV's, I've been having trouble with my V key. ZVZZT. All right, so this one here. So let's see, I'm going to go, I'm just going to move this over here. All right, so I'm going to put this at $10. So I put an order at $10, and I want to press the buy button. Let's say I type, 100 shares, whatever. All I have to do is press the buy button. Let's move the order up to 10:05. All right, so I have the order at 22, just like this one's at 10:05. I click the buy button. What's going to happen? I'm going to fill instantly. Instantly, I fill. So I get into these trades typically by entering the order ahead of time and then typing it right down here and then clicking the buy button. I can sell by pressing Control Z. So watch this. I'm going to press Control Z, and just like that, I'm out. I'm out of the trade. Unfortunately, on this one, I had the order at 22, and as it ripped up here from a low of 20, I thought to myself, if I get in there at 22 and it does a false breakout, which is what it did to me yesterday, it did this kind of nasty false breakout, then unfortunately, I would be risking with 100 shares $200, and I cannot afford a $200 loss right now. So I said, you know what? I have to wait for confirmation. I've got to wait for it to prove that it can really be strong. And so what I ended up doing, and I'll pull this back to the 10-second chart to show you these kind of micro pullbacks. So what I ended up doing was I let it go ahead and break that level. And my first entry, see if you can guess where it was. Right here. So it pops up, it pulls back, it rips up to a high of about $25. And on the one hand, I was like, I missed it. I should have just punched it at 22. But again, I couldn't afford the risk at 22. Now here, it popped up to a high of 25, pulled back to a low of 23.50, and then was consolidating right in this range right here. And so my entry at about $24 with a stop of 23.65, 23.50, that was a much tighter stop. So now I'm managing my risk in a safer way. So I got into this right here, and it rips up all the way to a high of 27.67. It pulls back for a second, then rips up to 28, and this was my first really big win on the stock. This was truly an awesome trade. And I used 90% of my buying power on it, so I was aggressive on share size and had that big win right through that breakout. Then it pulls back. It pulls back, but then it pops back up. I did the same thing on this pullback right here. I got back in with my stop right down here and rode this momentum up. Then we had one more trade right through here, a little false breakout as you can see. And that is when we started to go into a period of consolidation. And I was like, all right, well now we're consolidating sideways. It hit a high of 30 and then dropped down. So now I'm all out of it. I'm holding sideways. I think I may have taken a trade somewhere in here as well. I don't remember if it was right here or maybe right here, but it was a small winner. And at that point, I was only trading 40 and 50 shares. I was being pretty conservative on my share size. Okay, so then at this point, let's just switch over to the 1 minute chart. The 10 seconds no longer really helpful. Okay, so now we have this 1 minute chart where we're seeing consolidation here underneath $30. All right. So where is the logical breakout spot? This again is based on looking at this pattern that we're very familiar with. Oh boy, here we go. So now we're popping up a little bit again. We've got a high there of 36.67. Let's check out the 5 minute chart. Yep, okay, so it's popped up a couple times. It did it right here and then faded back down, a hard rejection. It's actually halted twice today, and both times it was halted going down. It definitely halted once. Maybe it didn't halt a second time. But in any case, it's been a little choppy today since this kind of first breakout. So at this point right here, this was the 5 minute chart. The stock had popped up to a high of $30, had pulled back. So I'm going to delete these trend lines for a second. I'm going to remove, and I'll just pop this here. Okay, so we're consolidating at this level, and I said, well, clearly $30 is the breakout spot. If it breaks 30, this thing looks awesome. The problem is, when it breaks 30, if it does break, it'll probably break really quickly. So I start looking at the 1 minute chart, asking myself, is there an early entry that I may be able to get on this trade? And so right through here, I'm watching it. And it pops up on this candle to 29.30, and then it pulls back. And as it comes up and breaks over 29.50, that's where I took my trade. So I got this nice trade on this break through 29.50, and the stock immediately hits a high of $31.28. I mean, it immediately ripped by $2 per share, which was incredible. So it goes up $2 a share. Then it goes up to 32. It pulls back for a second. Then it rips up to a high of $34. It does a little micro pullback. Guess where I added? Right here. Then I'm adding at 34 for the rip up through the highs. I'm thinking maybe it'll halt going up. It hits a high of 38.96, and my exit was right here. The first candle to go red versus the previous low of the previous candle. So my exit here was right there as just as it was dropping down, and just like that, I was out. And that was my last trade. Now, I'll try not to have FOMO if I look at this afternoon and see that it did rip up to $40 or $50. I still think it has a lot of potential. It really doesn't have any upside resistance. It's a recent IPO. It has no chart history. It's clearly moving higher. It's got a low float. There's very limited availability of shares to borrow on it, being a recent IPO. And most likely you're seeing insiders, at least right now, accumulating shares rather than selling shares on the open market. So, I think that it's very interesting, but at the same time, you have to know when to throw in the towel and walk away. 37.15 is a double top right now, as you can see this level here and here. So I would probably watch to see if it continues to consolidate in this range, kind of like right through here, then where's the apex point? If it holds above the moving averages, it holds above the VWAP, it stays under 37.15, then maybe coming out of lunch between 1, 2, 3 p.m., maybe between 2 and 4, we'll start to see it open up for a break of 37.15. This is the problem with this stock, though. The price is getting higher and higher and higher and higher. So, naturally, even though I grew my account a lot today, my buying power is based on how much I had in the account this morning. So I don't have an ability to be really aggressive on it, not yet. Well, at this point now, because the share price is getting too high. So tomorrow or Monday, I'll have more buying power and I'll be able to be more aggressive. But by that point, the stock may be up at $40 or $50 or higher, and then I think that I'm going to start to deal with issues of larger and larger spreads, and the risk may outweigh the profit potential. So I really owe a lot of thanks to this stock here today for giving me the big green day. TCCO only gave me $60, whereas LMPX gave me $1,320.52. So really an awesome day here in the small account, blowing up the account by doubling it in one day. So those of you guys that are going to stick around that have a cushion, LMPX, keep it on watch. You know, we may get some false breakouts. We definitely have less volume right now than we had at the beginning of the day during these initial breakouts. So I think there's a lot of reason to be careful and use caution. The spread right now is 60 cents. So that means with 100 shares, you're instantly down $60. And I saw the spreads at one point as much as $1.50, almost $1.70 per share. So you've got to manage your risk there. But for me, I'm going to throw in the towel and take my profit, and I will live to trade another day. All right, you guys. So as always, if you have questions and comments, those of you guys watching on YouTube, leave those right down below. I hope you guys are subscribed to the channel, and make sure you register to my next live Day Trading 101 webinar, and you'll learn a little bit about how to manage risk, how to find strong stocks to trade, and where to get in and where to get out in order to minimize your risk and maximize your profit potential. All right, thank you guys. I hope you all have an awesome weekend, and we will see you first thing on Monday morning. And Roberto, yes. Selena, Mike.
See you guys.
All right, let's say goodbye.
Bye,
all right.
guys.
See you guys later. Bye, everyone.
Click the link.
Yep, check it out. Hope to see you guys there. Hey, did you know that I go live every single morning between 9 and 9:15 to stream my pre-market watch list? Subscribe to the channel, press the bell for the alert, and you'll get the notification.